When we shoot for excellence, that's one thing. Perfection is almost unattainable in every case.
Right.
And yet when you really dig in and ask people, what is your definition of success? Often it is unsustainable. Hey everybody, welcome to the Leader Lab. This is Leadership Shorts, quick thoughts to help you level up your leadership. My name is Chad Wright. I'm the founder of Forward Partners, and I am joined as always by my partner in podcasting, Emily Grace Deal, EGD. I got it right this time.
Me.
I called her EDJ one time. She's not my Edward Jones advisor. Anyway, EDJ. Nope,
Yep.
EGD.
Yep.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about redefining success.
Redefining success.
Just all a metaphor. As individuals, we often create like unsustainable or like unreasonable definitions of success for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So as teams, we can fall into the trap of everyone chasing kind of their own definition, going in a different direction, right? How do we solve that problem? How do we overcome that?
You know, we always have the visual when we talk about healthy leadership. We talk about thriving teams. We have the visual of people climbing the mountain together. Mm-hmm. And I always use the metaphor like, hey, if we decided to climb a mountain together and we get to the base of it and all of us scatter in wildly different directions, like a couple people might make it to the top and a couple are going to make it to different levels. A couple are probably going to die because they're going to fall in a gorge somewhere and break their leg. And, you know, I always tell people I'm also, by the way, the first to die. Like I'm not built for mountain climbing. No. And so we're going to struggle if we're all moving in different directions. But if the goal is we all get to the top together, mm-hmm. that requires so much intentionality around success. And we think it's clear to our people, but it's often not, because we're always internally setting our own definition of success. Sometimes that is not a sustainable definition. And there's a lot of fear that plays into that. There's a lot of, you know, when we're defining success and the unsustainable nature of it, sometimes it's because of shame, fear, trauma in our past, and we're like, oh, if I can just do this, I'm going to prove all that wrong, you know. And so if you've got 20 people on your team and they're running in 20 different directions, we're going to struggle.
Yeah,
we're going to really wrestle with that.
That's tiring.
Yeah, it really is exhausting because there's an inefficiency to it, right? The fastest way up the mountain is everybody moving up the mountain together. Mm-hmm. I say that having never climbed a mountain, but I'm making some assumptions here. But if we're all moving in different directions, we're going to really struggle with that. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's something to us very intentionally as a team defining what success is.
Well, and I think there's something about whenever you don't necessarily put words to it and you just kind of make assumptions about what your definition of success is, then everyone shoots for perfection. And not that you shouldn't have a really high level, but I think it should be something that you can quantify and you can understand and like be a little realistic with.
Yes, because the unsustainable nature comes in when we are shooting for perfection, right? When we shoot for excellence, that's one thing. Perfection is almost unattainable in every case.
Right. And
yet when you really dig in and ask people, what is your definition of success? Often it is unsustainable. So talking about these things very frequently is very, very helpful. Mm-hmm. We have through our Basecamp, our software we use, we have a question that pops up at the beginning of every week. I think it's Monday morning at like 9 a.m. It says, what's your definition of success this week? I have loved that question because two reasons. One, it has helped me understand what everybody's working on. Like we all have a view then of what are we defining as success? What are we working on this week? How can we support each other? Two, it has really shown me where my definitions are unsustainable, because my definition will be, oh, we're going to complete this thing. And then I'll look at my calendar and go, oh, there is no time on my calendar to achieve this thing.
As the weeks go on, you do like I can answer it easier and easier.
Yes.
Because like when we first started it, it was like, I mean, I don't know. Do all the things. Like,
do all the things.
I'm just going to do all the things in there.
Yes.
And then when the week is done, I'll be done and I'll do it next week. But I think now it's like, okay, what realistically could I get to the end of the week and feel good about completing?
And that has been such a beautiful exercise in sustainability, because I am now, when I write that definition, I'm immediately stopping and going, okay, is this on my calendar?
Right.
Do I have time blocked off to actually accomplish this? Because at the beginning, I would define it and then I would look at my calendar and like every minute of every day is booked up for the entire week and go, oh.
Maybe I need to edit this.
Right? Because otherwise you're setting yourself up for failure. And that's where I think that building sustainability into these matters so deeply.
Right.
Because otherwise we're setting ourselves up for failure. We're setting ourselves up for another chance to beat ourselves up. Part of the reason we define these so unsustainably is that past fear and that past trauma. Well, then when we fail, it agrees with that past fear and agrees with things we've heard in the past. And now we're off to a loop doing it all over again.
Right.
And we don't need another reason to beat up on ourselves.
Yeah, so it's not like it would be great if I could do this, or I mean, it is that, but it's not like, it would be great part is not super unachievable, and like on top of everything else I have, it's probably not realistic this week.
Yeah, it's building that realism into it matters. And so how do we do this practically as a team? Really, we've got to unite around one definition, and part of the best way to get there is co-creation. Can we sit and talk about it? Can we decide as a team, what are we going to call success? And I think this is true for an entire organization to define that, but really for individual teams within an organization. For us to say, hey, here's our team, here's our part of the organization. How are we going to know if we are successful?
Right.
And I love these conversations and how they evolve. It's always fascinating to me. I'm working with an organization right now that has 3 different locations, and so we're working with the general managers of all 3 locations. 3 locations that are not connected, but they are connected in some ways. I said, how would y'all as a team know if you are successful as general managers? And they define these beautiful definitions for success. They said, if we are 3 connected and we're united as one and doing a great job, the owner's going to be able to take a vacation for a month and not think about us and not sit here and have to stress about everything we're doing, because they see that we're a team and that we're working together. And for 3 pieces of an organization that could all move in wildly different directions, they coalesced around this idea that they needed to be a team. And so talking about these things matter. And so I think it really is just sitting down and defining as a team, what do we see as success together?
Yeah, what does that look like?
Yeah, and co-create that. And then when they co-create that, there's that built-in kind of accountability and that built-in ownership that comes with it. There's
Definitely.
buy-in.
Someone isn't just handing you the law that you're
they're not just saying, here's what we're going to do. They're saying, hey, what do you want to do? Great, let's integrate that with what we want to do. Let's figure this out together.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that becomes exciting. If everybody at the bottom of the mountain agrees on where they're trying to get to on the mountain and how they're going to get there.
You feel less likely to want to run off in your own direction.
Absolutely. Leaders, let's talk next steps. I promise you the people within your organization have different definitions of success. Some of those are unsustainable. If you're trying to build health into your organization, if you want your team to thrive, y'all have to unite around really good but really sustainable definitions for success. And don't assume they're all the same. Don't assume everybody knows it. Create it together. Move in that direction. Make it one of the most talked about things within your organization. Be intentional about it. Definitions of things matter deeply. So y'all get together and define success. Co-create that together. If people want to send us questions, subjects they kind of want to see us wrestle with, whatever they have for us, where do they send that to?
lab@forwardpartners.net.
lab@forwardpartners.net. If they want to find leadership development content online where we give it away for free constantly, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, where do they find that?
@ForwardPartner.
@ForwardPartner on all those platforms.
Yep.
Emily, thank you for co-hosting on this episode and the entire
Thank you.
podcast. John, thank you for producing, and thank you for watching, for listening, and more importantly, for sharing with fellow leaders. We want to continue to grow this impact, and it means the world that you're giving us your attention. We'll see you next time right here in the Leader Lab for Leadership Shorts.